Hello YouTube and welcome back into another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Valheim and I'm going to be showing you basically the evolution of the castles that I've built in this game. And so far I've only built 3, so it's not going to be a huge evolution, but I kind of wanted to show where I came from, what architectural styles I was kind of utilizing for each one, and how I developed along the way. This may or may not be interesting to you, but I think it'll be kind of fun. So what I'm going to have to do for this is I'm going to have to initiate some console commands so I can actually get up in the air and show you stuff. So if you're interested in how to do that, you press F5, and then you type in, I'm a cheater. I love it when it's like that. And then I think to fly you use debug mode. Okay, and then once that's activated, Z should allow you to fly. See? So that's how I get those aerial shots after I build stuff. I gotta be honest, console commands in this game are not ridiculously useful for doing stuff in the game, but they're useful for this, and I also use the free fly mode to take pictures of stuff after I finish it. But anyway, this is the first castle I built in the game. Before this, I'd only built long halls, pagan, real early stuff with just palisades and everything. So this is the first time I started venturing out into a castle, and actually it's funny because I built it right next to the initial stones here. So I got it right here. So basically, when you come up to the front, it's just got, it doesn't even have a gatehouse. You can see I've got a palisade door, palisade wall with a stone foundation, some spiked barricades on the outside. I actually have it going down into the water. This is actually a decent defensive location because of the way I have it set up, and it goes like that on both sides. But yeah, it's very basic style. It basically, if it wasn't for the relatively safe area that it's in and the way that I was able to use the water, it wouldn't be the best defenses because of how it's set up. There's only one gate for the gatehouse. There's no secondary gate. It's just wooden. No way to defend against it because there's no battlements, you know. Then we come up to the castle. Real basic on the front. You can see I just have a plain door that opens up, and then I do have an iron gate on the inside, but nothing more complex there. I was just experimenting with all the stone stuff at this point because this is the first time I'd used any of it. So once we go inside, this castle's kind of interesting, and I'll get to why I don't love it. I like it, but I don't love it, so I'll get to that in the thing. But I did decide to make a big side structure where I actually built a church, so that was kind of fun. I got to mess with that. Luckily, Christianity has one of the easiest symbols to make. It would have been hard if I would have decided to make a Zoroastrian church or something like that. It would have been a little bit more complicated. But we can go up on the wall, not easiest to do in fly mode. And I've just got battlements up here, so you can see they're nothing too advanced. You can see I mounted some of my trophies over here. I had to go back and kill some of the bosses more than once so I could get extra trophies, but I think it was worth it because they look cool. But anyway, in this castle I was going with round tower design, and this is where I was kind of, you can see how rough these towers look. Look how bad my alignment was. God, I hate it so much. It helped me figure out how the building works in this game, what the colors mean when it's highlighted. This was all experimentation. This tower I couldn't get quite right, and I'm guessing it's because of this terrible wall alignment on this side. I didn't actually see that until now because when I built it, I didn't know how to use the flying thing, so I couldn't look at it other than like standing on it or from a distance. But yeah, when you're right above it, look how terrible that alignment is. But that's why I couldn't get the, like if I put any blocks there, they just shatter. Not a mechanic I'm a fan of in the game. If it's sitting on a block, the block shouldn't break. That's just annoying. Maybe take the whole tower down, but the one block just breaking is stupid. But anyway, some of the other towers turned out a little bit better, but you can see down on the bottom I still had a lot of alignment problems when I was making it. This is before I had the circular building kind of all figured out in the game. But I did go for the circular towers because historically they are better towers than square towers. Then on the inside, I just have one central keep. It's not great. That's one of the things I'm still trying to figure out in this game is my spatial reasoning, because for everything I've built so far, I keep starting on the outside and building in. Not on my most recent build, which I'll get to in the end of this video, but I start on the outside and build in, and then I run out of room, instead of starting in the middle and building out, which makes it easier to make sure you can space everything. So in here you can see it's just kind of a Great Hall style, but with more modern architecture. I've just got some weapons up on the wall and a throne with some side chairs, cooking thing in the middle. With this one, I don't have any formal chimney, so when I light that thing up, it really smokes out the top layers, so that's can't be a problem. I have a blacksmithing area, crafting area, all my tables, and then I actually just, way up on top, that was just going to be battlements. I was like, wait, I need a bedroom, so I just popped a little bedroom in here. So that's the first castle I built. Like I said, I still like it. It's not bad. It kind of feels a little bit more like a personal home or a chateau or something than a full-blown, what you'd expect out of a fortress-style castle where you have a lot of people. But the definition of a castle is a fortified personal home, and so this is a castle. It's just, you know, a little bit different. I like how it's out in the water. I didn't have to dig a moat for this. I could to make it more defensible. Just dig out... Oh god, those towers look so bad. I could do that, but honestly, as it is, it's pretty good. So that's the first castle I did. Let's move on to the second one, my upgrade from here. So this second castle is what I like to call Orc Isle because it's in a plains biome, and there's the little fullings, or what I like to call orcs, all over the place. This one, I actually have a full build video if you want to see me building this one. I have it up on YouTube, so if you want to see it. But basically, I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. This one, I still didn't have a full plan when I started building. Just right off the bat, one of the things I want to talk about is I don't like in this game. Exposed wood stuff like this degrades really, really quickly. I don't like that. I really don't. I like the fact that it weathers. I think it should weather when it's out in the rain, but it shouldn't lose its strength because it takes a long time for kiln dried or treated lumber to start to degrade just from rain. But anyway, this one kind of takes inspiration from various different castle styles. It's got a lot of early fortress themes in it, so before castles were even officially castles, so before the Norman Conquest and Motte and Bailey and stuff like that started becoming popular. It's got some inspiration there, but it's also got some Motte and Bailey and a little bit of concentric, so this one is just a mismatch. But basically, I came here, I found this while I was exploring, and I was like, hey, this is kind of a cool spot. I'd had the water coming through, I figured I could redirect to make some moats, and I never actually ended up doing that, because like it's got this coming up here, it's kind of a natural moat, and I just shaved off the sides of this part a little bit to make it a little bit steeper, and I built this tower first, and this was actually probably my first successful roundhouse tower in the game with a roof. Look how nice the roof looks. Only problem in this game is unless you go with like a 5x5 square tower, it's kind of hard to build staircases inside, so the stairs are super janky. But you can use them. They work. And then I have from the tower going onto the battlements is the only way to get to the battlements, so that way if you were going to break in here, because this is kind of like the keep for my castle, which is a little weird because over there it looks like the keep, but it's not. You would have to get through the gate, get through that gate into the tower, fight through up the steps to get onto the battlements. You can't just take the battlements from the outside. So that's one thing. But then I just have a basic gate, no gatehouse. I don't love it, but I kind of like how I did it at an angle. I think it looks cool. But then you just have a walled off, I don't know what you'd call this, causeway or something, up to these cool stairs. And along the whole outside, I've got spikes lined, which work really well because plains biomes are fun to build in because they're great for resource gathering and they're bright and they don't rain quite as much, at least in my experience. Or I don't know if that's how it's affected, but that's just been my experience here. But you do get attacked by a lot of stuff. There's constantly fullings and deathsquitos and loxes and all that sort of stuff that are going to be attacking. So it's good to definitely have a nice steep hill with some spikes on it to defend you. You can see I had a bunch of deathsquito spikes over here because they were running into them. So that works. I should have had a gatehouse here. I would have, like, if I might still build one or at least a gate here because then you've got another layer of defense before they get to the keep. And it's not proper Motte and Bailey because technically the Motte should be up higher. It should be elevated up on a motte. I shouldn't even say that because it's not called a motte. It's the keep is on a motte. Motte is just hill. That would be like this. So this is kind of like a reverse Motte and Bailey, but it still has a similar effect. You don't have the defensive advantage of being above your defenders here. You're actually below them, but you still have a walled off protected section. That would be another ring that they'd have to fight through. So not perfect, but still works. Then we come out to the main Bailey area where I have a similar to the last one. I built a similar tower to the last castle that I showed you here, and it's got kind of a similar style inside. I went really simplistic because with this one I was focusing more on what the outside looked like. Plus I was using it as a forward operating base, so there wasn't any reason to make it look super fancy. But then I've got up here, you can see I just have the bedroom, and this actually works rather well because the fireplace is right below it, so even though it can get a little smoky, up here it doesn't affect you in your bed, so you don't get smoked in the bed, but you do stay warm. I also have a brazier up here. Brazier, something. I have a nice big old open room up here. Took a while to get the ceiling to not want to collapse on itself, but in the end I think it looks really nice. Definitely offers you a lot of shooting angles for the entire surrounding land, which is really nice. And then there's lastly, I have a secondary Bailey, which we can go check out. So here we have the secondary Bailey, and I actually have a 2-layer gatehouse here. Well, I shouldn't say gatehouse, it's just a 2-layer gate. So I've got iron gates on the inside and wooden doors on the outside. Doesn't work perfectly, but it does work. And then around the outside, we've got a basic stone foundation palisade wall, so it's kind of like the last place I went. I really just like how this looks. That's why I like to use it. And then 2 layers of spikes, and it drops down here. So it's decently defendable. This is also another one that I don't have problems with the events that happen when I start getting attacked. And in here, we just have a workshop area. Blacksmith and workshop, storage, all that sort of stuff. So I can actually use this base when I'm out exploring because it's a decent distance from home. So we can just go look at the outside. Like I said, this one is just a mashup of a bunch of different styles. I didn't have a plan when I started this one. I just kind of kept building it. But in the end, artistically, I really like how it turned out. Like I said, it's a hybrid Motte and Bailey. So it's fun. But I think I kind of... Oh, and this side gets attacked the most often, so you can see I have a lot of spikes. Let's go to the last castle that I've built so far. I'm obviously going to build more, but as of right now, this is where I really started to refine it. So let's go see that one. All right, so here's the last one we built. And this one is an actual proper full 2-ring, 3-level concentric castle. And so this one I planned out from the beginning, started in the center and worked out. So I definitely like how this one turned out. You can see it's lagging a little bit because my instances in this region are really, really high because of how big this thing is. But here, I'll just turn off the fly for now. So you can see we come up to a main approach with a nice steep staircase. I've, of course, got spike rings all the way around. Just a plain iron gate at the top, but this in and of itself is a big gatehouse. Now I'll explain, it may not look perfect because there's no murder holes on top or anything, but over to the side we have a portal room. I really just wanted to have a portal room for this castle because since I built it, I've been using it as my main home on this world. Then I don't really have anything in here. I was thinking about putting storage or some extra cooking equipment or something. But if you come up on top, it's got a little guardhouse. This is mostly all just for looks. I don't really use anything out here, but, you know, it's good to have extra space in the game because eventually I'm going to need to put a bunch more storage out because that's one thing in this game. I collect a lot of junk. But then when you come out of the gatehouse, I don't have a gate on this side, and I considered putting one in there, but I don't really need to because, as you can see, this is supposed to be a drawbridge. There's obviously no mechanic in the game for a good drawbridge right now. I hope that's something they add, but there's not. But this is the drawbridge, so this would act as an independent gatehouse. And it would be completely separate from there. So if you were ever being besieged in this castle, you'd be able to defend this opening, which I figured if we're doing it that way where we've got a big moat in the middle, so even if they take this gatehouse, that way it's the same reason I didn't put battlements right here. Like there's the lip to the wall, so I guess people don't fall off, but there's no crenellations for them to hide behind. So I figured that like my lore-wise would be you draw your drawbridge up, and then you can fire arrows or throw spears or whatever from this wall into there if they're down in the bottom and right into the back. So it's easier. It's got perfect defense for the outside of the castle, but once you've taken this gatehouse, you're vulnerable to attack from the main castle. So that's what I was going for. So with that aside, when you come in here, I did my best to actually make a gatehouse here. I didn't want to sacrifice being able to walk up on top, but I could have put a murder hole up top. It's a very narrow gatehouse. But we've got murder holes on the sides where defenders could stab through with spears, shoot arrows, all that sort of stuff. Now, ideally, you'd have arrow slits here, so it'd be easier to shoot from the inside of the walls to the murder wall, to the murder hole than vice versa. But that mechanic just isn't in the game yet. But 2 layers of iron gates. The walls are double layered, so they're triple thick, and they have a walkway in the middle. And you come down to the bottom of each tower. You see you don't get from the bottom of the tower to the next level. That's because if we ever had people getting in through the gate, you wouldn't want them to be immediately able to take the battlements. That's a classic trope in movies, books, TV shows, games, where it makes no sense, and I like to avoid it. So down here we have a workshop, plenty of storage, and the other way looks exactly the same. It's just a blacksmith area. I haven't used the 2 back towers yet. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with them. The only problem with this build that I actually have is that when I was building it, I once again did not leave enough space. So like my walkway in this ring is so tight because I ran out of room. As far as this outer wall goes, I haven't quite decided how I want the axis to work for it. So as of right now, I'm just using this little front jumping block to get up onto it. But then like I said, these outer towers are 5x5s. So they're actually decently easy to make a proper staircase that goes up. I have a support beam there that makes it so you get caught right on the lip, but honestly it's not bad. And if you use the iron support beams as a support structure, you can actually do a stone floor, so you don't need to put a roof on it and it won't degrade. Like I said, that's the only thing I really don't like about the wood in this game is it degrades, and I want to be able to use it for towers and stuff for the floors, but I can't have my tower floors collapsing because they got rained on twice. It goes the same around the back, but like I said, I didn't really fill out the back yet. This gatehouse is similar to the front one. Like I said, you've got ways to be stabbed and shot from the inside. I have just wooden doors on the inside because I didn't have enough iron when I was building this, but that is what it is. Then we've got another wall on the inside, and you can see it's the same thing. It's just a rectangular wall with 4 corner towers. Nice stairway up into it. Double doors for the keep or great hall. See, that's another thing, a bone of contention I had. When I was building this, my initial plan was for this to be a high medieval castle. But then when I was building it, I kind of ended up building a great hall anyway, and I think it's just because the way that the parts that we have to build with in the game right now really lend themselves to this style of architecture. So I kind of made it hybrid. So the walls are stone on the outside. Floor is stone. It's got all that feel into it, but it's built in the style of a pagan great hall. We've got fermentation barrels up front, plenty of cooking space in the middle because this is obviously something that my whole group uses. Nice chair spot in the middle. We've got 2 back bedrooms here with plenty of storage space, display stuff. Nobody is using that one currently. This is the one I've been using. Then when we go up to the upper level, I've also got a bunch of areas for extra players and such. So then when you go out, there's battlements on the outside of this. So that's why I said it's kind of a hybrid. It's not quite a pagan hall, and it's not quite a proper medieval European keep. It's a mashup of both, but it works pretty well. And this is my most recent iteration of the chimney design for these, so I can have the smoke escaping. It's a little bit higher up, so I think it's a little less realistic. And if you had a good, strong sideways blow and rain, it would obviously blow right in there. But I think it looks really cool from a distance, and it works really well. So that's the keep. Like I said, these inner towers here are similar to the other ones, except they're 3x3s. So I haven't quite figured out how to make the stairs really work inside them. So currently they actually don't have stairs in them. But we do have roofs on these ones because they have the wooden floors. And I thought, it looked cool and offered variation. As far as getting up onto this inside wall here, I'm in the outside wall. In the innermost Bailey, I just built a staircase in the back with a railing that goes up to it. It's not the perfect defensive design, but honestly, given how... Oh, I guess I could show you the moat too. So obviously, I also have a build video of this one that shows it from start to finish, but this was on a hill already, and then I built it out and flattened and terraformed it into 3 tiers, and then at the edge of the 3rd tier, I dug a sheer moat that goes down to the bedrock, or at least in some areas it does. So as you can see up here where I'm near the top of the hill, it's not as deep. That's because I actually cannot mine through that any further, which sucks, but it is what it is. It's still decently defendable. I've had all sorts of enemies. You can see there's Grey Dwarfs all over the place. This castle is the perfect defense in this game because they follow logic paths. They can't get up even there where it's the shortest. None of the enemies that I've been able to taunt and try to get them to get up, they can't even get up there, so they obviously can't get up in any of the other steep places. So if they want to try getting up, they gotta come through here, and they always just die on the spikes. But given how far away that entrance is from where you're going to be spending your time if you're in this castle, they never even notice you're here. So it's perfect. It's been awesome. I really love it. It turned out great and it looks fantastic. So that's where I'm at evolution-wise in the building of my castles in Valheim. If you've hung out this long, which most people don't, awesome. I'm glad you stuck around. I hope it was an enjoyable video, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.